Welcome to Podheim, Jiroc's Valheim podcast. Let's give him the business.
Hey everybody, today is March 30th, 2022. I'm your host, Jiroc the Viking, and joining me today are my fellow Vikings, Gwen the Shield Maiden.
Hey, hey.
Jarl Tolkas.
Hello, everybody.
Viking Thorin, aka Metaroon.
Hey, what's going on, everybody?
And this week, we also welcome a new Viking guest, Viking Mad Michael.
Greetings, everyone.
You ever find yourself building a house but forget to eat and fall off the roof? I bet that floor gave you the business, didn't it? Well, we're going to do the same thing. It just won't hurt your pride as much. And that said, we're going to start off by saying, hello, Mad Michael. Welcome to the podcast.
Thanks for having me.
So can you tell us just a little bit about your gaming history and how you came to play Valheim? What landed you on Valheim and then eventually on playing on my servers?
Well, I've been a gamer ever since I first played Frogger in about 1983 or so.
Nice.
What brought me to the Valheim was my girlfriend's interest. She really liked the game, so we got into it and played for a month.
Nice.
I originally went in blind. Still remember how I screamed the first time I ran into a troll.
Like me then.
Yeah, you and Gwen. Probably all of us, actually, if I have to be honest.
Yeah.
Eventually, I got a little frustrated with how I couldn't figure some things out. So I started searching YouTube and I came across this great YouTuber named Jiroc who had some great informational videos. Also, he promoted this great community and I saw it and I said, you know what? I have to be a part of that. And that's how I ended up here. I've been here for 3 months.
Oh, awesome. It's been 3 months already.
Yeah, I was just going to say, it doesn't feel that long
Yeah, time flies.
when you're having fun.
Yep.
Yeah, I started the server, the first server in September of 2021. You know, for those listening, years from now, going back through the archive, it was all the way back in 2021 when we were all young and vibrant Vikings. But yes, I started it then, and yeah, it seems crazy that it's been so long already. It'd be interesting when we get to the 1 year point and do our 1 year anniversary celebration.
Yeah, absolutely. We have new Vikings joining us every week, and someone who joined this week was just flabbergasted to see that we were on day 8,000 something on the server.
Yeah, I think even the devs have been surprised by the day that would flash up when they visit the server, when they see, you know, several thousands of days into playing. Most people probably reset their server at some point before they get that high. I don't know.
We need to keep it running, see if we can set the record.
In single player, you usually stop playing at day 300 or something. By that point, you are through with everything. So going over 1,000 is already a thing, but we are already past 8,000, going to 9,000. Pretty impressive.
Yeah. Somebody has to try to get that screen capture when it rolls over to day 10,000.
Yes.
Well, I'll be watching for that.
Yeah, absolutely. We should actually make an announcement for that, so you know everybody can be aware and then try to get a screenshot when it happens, which shouldn't be too long.
Yeah.
Well, we're glad to have you, Mad, and sure that some of you have seen some the Valheim news that came out recently. I'm calling it the Sticky Dungeon sneak peek. That was looked like a Photoshop drawing. You guys all saw that Photoshop drawing pasted over a screen capture of the world.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they mentioned it was a concept art, right? So it's not yet developed fully in game. It's an artistic rendition of what it would look like, if I understood.
Yeah, they've had a couple of those that have come out so far. They had one a month or two ago with a bunch of colorful golden trees as well that I think Jiroc also featured in a video.
Yeah, I actually got the news on the day they posted. I have someone in my clan who's, I don't know if he has a newsletter of the Steam account or if he's just keeping an eye on it, but right when it came out, he just posted it straight away. It was really cool.
Yeah, and of course I was sleeping, as I usually am, because they release the updates usually around 2 to about 6 a.m. my time, and yeah, I'm usually sleeping It was pretty cool looking, sticky webs. It really doesn't look like spider webs to me. Does anybody else feel that it doesn't feel like spiders and it might be something else?
Well, didn't they say there wouldn't be any spiders at some point?
Yeah, I don't remember, but yeah, I think like the old Mistlands kind of had those white, sort of more traditional webs you would relate to spiders, but this kind of golden sticky web, I don't know, it doesn't feel like spiders to me. Mad, what do you think? You're new here. What do you think the creature is going to be that makes those things?
Oh, I think that it could be something that we've never seen before, because a few of the mobs are something I've never seen before in any other game.
Mm.
Yeah, they've released 2 pictures, right, for mobs so far, the little flying bug and then the kind of scaly bunny.
How are the animals called that make silk?
The silkworms. That's my speculation. I'm willing to bet on it. Actually, I'm that certain. And since even the old Mistlands, I've always said the webs, they're not like spider webs because they don't go out just like flat 2D. They're more like tunnels, a bit like what silkworms do. So I've always said, and I will stand by this, it will be some sort of massive worm, like silkworms, and the material that we'll collect will be silk. And with silk, we'll be able to do more fancy things, clothes and stuff like that.
Sticky, gooey silk.
Yeah, sticky, gooey silk.
We scared already Bambi, one of the server players, a little, but just by, fantasizing a bit about big centipedes running through the dungeons.
Oh, yikes.
Yeah, so that's exciting that they're showing like that clear a picture of a dungeon. I didn't think that they would have revealed that. That's like, to me, that felt like a big reveal, even though it's still just a concept art. It was pretty detailed, and I love the big staircase that goes up to it. Always, nothing else do we have. Everything else we have, it just feels like it's a little entrance thingy to a place. It doesn't feel grand or epic. But with the frost caves, the entrances may not be that grand. They're pretty good, especially if you get the one with the pointed rock to make it look like the wolf snout. And the insides are really epic. But that staircase leading up to that entrance just felt like a grand staircase leading up to some kind of cave or structure that would be inside worshiping some evil deity silkworm.
Dark elf ninjas.
So yeah, with how organic it looks, I'm going to guess that the stairs aren't actually going to be there in the final game, because that is hard to generate programmatically, like stairs that clip into the ground nicely, but also the two almost feel at odds with each other, in my opinion. Like the more structural, kind of mysterious staircase leading up to the big hole with a big gaping, empty hole in the earth that is probably a worm tunnel or something of the sorts.
I'm hoping for just one solid stair asset piece that I can spawn in as an admin.
That would be nice.
Right?
A big castle stair.
Yeah.
Yeah. When I think I agree with Gwen, and it'll probably be some form of giant worm, and I think it'll have something to do with the moths. The worms will evolve into the moths, and it looks like it'll be a big worm and maybe even a bigger moth, which could be kind of crazy. Some big enemies.
Yeah.
The real question is, will we get to ride them?
Oh, jeez.
I think the answer on that's going to be no. They keep. I've heard more than one of them say, "Well, what do you have boats for? Vikings ride on boats,
It's not as fun though."
But we are already riding big as 2 tons muscle mountains.
So you're riding it onto your boat though.
I'm still dreaming about a wolf chariot or something like that.
Oh, actually, there's a mod that allows you to saddle up wolves and boars, and I've been considering that for one of our future servers.
I've seen it on someone's video. Someone was playing on a heavily modded server, and I just found that even with the 2-star wolves, just the proportions don't work. It looked ridiculous to be riding a dog, essentially.
It's not quite big enough.
Proportions didn't. Yeah, it didn't look right. It was like poor dog, poor back.
Yeah, and the boars are even smaller.
Oh, I've not seen that one.
Oh, yeah. So going on to the other news that came out, Mad Michael, did you see that very clear picture of the crossbow that they released?
Oh yeah, it looks great.
Yeah, because previously they only showed it from behind. So yeah, having that front view was really cool. And I'm guessing it's going to be some new materials to make that thing. Everybody keeps sort of speculating of all the materials that we have previously, but I haven't seen a lot of people speculate at what new materials it could be. What do you guys have any guesses as to what a new metal might be in that biome?
Well, we have flametal.
Well, the crossbow looked kind of green, so I hope it's a new use for the black metal.
Yeah, I would agree, because I was thinking that as I was looking at it, and it's got the two red rings on it.
Yes.
And I was playing the other day with my trusty black metal axe, and I noticed, oh wait, it's green with a red thing. So, and all the black metal stuff are green with a hint of red somewhere, I think, even the gear. So I would think it's probably, black metal and maybe some new materials, maybe the new silk, if that's a thing. But I would say probably black metal as the main metal, because it would make sense, because this new biome is the one that comes after the plains. And what do you mine in the plains? It's black metal. So kind of makes sense.
That's a good observation with the red touches on the other black metal weapons. I did not think about that.
I will say though, I didn't think it was green. I thought it was iron reflecting the grass. And like if you look at the components near the Vikings' hands, and in the previous photo that we saw where you're looking at it from the back, it's definitely silver. So who knows? And I guess it's also a question of like, is this a continuation of the bow category? Is it definitely going to be like the bow from the Mistlands, or is it a new weapon category that you could get access to earlier on? Who knows?
Yeah, do we have a new weapon skill, right? That's just crossbows, or does it fall under bows? That's interesting. I'd be really surprised if they put one single weapon and give it its own skill, but they did do that with the fist weapons, didn't they?
Yeah,
that's true.
I personally don't love that approach, because it makes it hard to fit in with the other weapon series. Like it feels like you need some level of progression, but I don't know. It'll be interesting to see what approach they take.
Yeah, it's hard to train up your fists prior to getting to the mountains, because you don't have many opportunities to really use them in an effective way until you get the fist weapons, and then you're starting with a very low fist weapon skill. So.
Yeah, exactly.
Excuse me, punching grey dwarfs, isn't that your favorite sport?
I'd try to ride on their head and hit them with the pickaxe.
When you can't punch rocks anymore. You used to be able to do that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Whack a grayling.
Okay. Well, a couple of quick announcements here. We've made some real progress on our season 2 servers. We're going the first season 1. We basically had these really cool POIs all over the world. We had a bunch of mobs, mini bosses, which were mobs in the game that were boosted in stats. And then we placed what we called artifacts, which were weapons, armors, and tools in game that were beefed up a little bit, or transmogged, meaning lower tier items raised up to match top tier items, so everybody doesn't have to use or wear the exact same thing. And in season 2, we're going with a slightly different approach that I just wanted to tease a little bit. Basically, it's going to be a little more scavenger hunt and clue based. So there will still be really cool POIs with lots of combat things to do, lots of combat to be had, and mini bosses to fight. Each of these POIs, instead of having an artifact, it's going to have a clue. And each of these clues are going to lead you to basically what I'm calling offerings. And when you get enough clues to help you decide what offering you need, you're going to need certain amount of offerings to place at a summoning spot that summons one of the greater ones, I'm calling them for now. And the greater ones will spawn. It'll be a big group event. It'll happen maybe once or twice a week if the players are ready to summon the greater one. And if they get all the offerings correct, they'll summon the greater one. If not, they might summon something else, like instant death as using Thorin's old instant death attack when he killed everybody in the Great Hall. What do you remember? Which power you summoned for that, Thorin?
Yes. So I was trying to. Somebody was receiving an award or something, and I was trying to give like a mystical surprise celebration kind of effect, and you can spawn effects that various creatures and things in the game put off. And most of the time they're only visual, but I accidentally spawned, I don't remember the name of it, but it's the fire from Yagluth. And it ended up just burning and melting everyone in the room, and we had a million gravestones all over the floor. That was pretty good.
Oh.
Surprise! No, burn!
Yeah.
It was so funny because I think I was getting the prizes ready or something. And then, the room lit on fire, and I look up, and Thorin's standing on the other side of the room, and I just see like 15 gravestones in the center of the Great Hall. And of course, because I'm in God mode, right? Because I'm on my admin character, and I look over at Thorin. Oh, what happened?
And at this moment, this little boy knew he messed up.
Exactly.
Please tell me you got a recording of that.
I do have one. Yeah.
I believe that is recorded on. I forget. Do you remember which event it was, Thorin?
I don't. It was an early one. Yeah, I'm not sure.
Yeah, I'm sure it's on my channel if I streamed it, but I don't remember which one it was. But yeah. So that said, like the season 2 is going to have all these clues and basically kind of like little riddled clues that are all going to be related to stuff in game, and you'll have to put the clues together. You like work with other people, trade clues and stuff to try to get all the information you need to then go and summon the Greater One at the Greater One summoning spots, and then have the event run and then get prizes. We're actually going to be doing a currency prize system. So instead of just awarding an artifact or having one or more artifacts that are randomly distributed, we're going to have a currency system where you'll earn these things. I haven't exactly decided, like maybe like artifact fragments, so we'll call them, or something like that, where when you get enough artifact fragments, then you can then trade them all in to get yourself an artifact. This way everybody can will work together, because you won't be able to do these events by yourself. And it'll encourage a lot more teamwork and everybody coming together, and then trying to do all the different events so you can get all the artifact fragments to then claim your very own artifact. So some of the things we're working on, things are subject to change, but that's what we're working on now, and we're going to see how that goes. And it's going to take a little while to do because we really want it to be exciting. And since we're tweaking so many things, I think if we nail this is going to be a perfect formula for future seasons, which will then go a lot quicker, because we are also blueprinting a whole bunch of new builds, which means somebody builds something, I make a blueprint, and I have that in a library, and I can, spawn that later. Then the other thing.
Awesome. Yeah. Looking forward to it. Sorry. Cut you off there.
Oh, no, you're good. You're good. I paused to see if anybody wanted any thoughts or questions on that. This is probably the first time Mad Michael's hearing about that. How does that sound to you, Mad?
I mean, it sounds great. It sounds like you're really addressing some of the issues from season 1. You're learning as you go. I'm curious, though, are mods going to be required?
Yeah, so there's some things I want to do that will probably require a modded version. And then I'm going to consider if I can still make everything work to some degree the way I want to, and have an unmodded version, because I know the unmodded version of the server is really popular with a few people, but not just like some of the people on our server already, but also really it allures new people, because if they're not real familiar with mods, they can come in and not have to mod their client and be able to jump in. So yeah, we're still working out those details, but good question. And so one of the other things that's happened on our servers lately, to kind of just jump into a little bit of server news, is for my elite patrons, I came up with a great new thing for them. That's the people who donate at a little bit higher level to support my creative work, making videos and running gaming servers. And I've introduced Sky platforms, and all of a sudden I'm getting emailed and DM'd and YouTube comment questions. I probably have about 20 of them now. How did you create the sky platforms? Which rock is that? So I created these. I used a rock in the game. I flattened it with mod admin commands, and they don't fall. They float in the sky, way up high, just beneath the Yggdrasil. So, and everybody's having a great time building on them. So that's from the elite patrons. They're having a really good time, a blast with that. And they also get a frost cave of their choice, and most of them seem to be choosing either the frost cave with the giant frozen lake room or with the fairly large deep water pool. But there are a couple other interesting caves out there. They also get a frost companion, which is a frost cave companion. And that's just, I'm taming any mob they want in game except for bosses. I've had many people say, can I have a motor tamed? And I said, that Forsaken are not tamed. I mean, I can tame them, but they can't be tamed for you. I think right now we have an Olv in somebody's cave, and we have a Wraith. Somebody wanted a tame Wraith to just kind of float around and scare the heck out of them when they turn a corner.
Interesting choice.
Yeah. And a few others. So, always trying to think of fun things to do for the people who support all the work that we do. And I just want to take a quick break from the show to share with you one of my sponsors, the Grimfrost, an amazing company that sells really, really cool Viking products. They have over 1,000 different modern and historical Viking products. If you're interested, you should check them out. I have a link in the description, or you can go to my website, jiroctheviking.com/Grimfrost. Now back to the show. And then we also had a server event this weekend, and Luma, one of the developers, came over, and he did the parkour event. We have a parkour course in the swamp. It's the same one that we did the parkour event about a month or two ago, except that it has been modified quite a bit. So while some of the parts of the course are the same, there were some new challenges that quite a few people were having difficulty with. But Luma ended up getting second on that, and I believe it was Ark got first. If anybody remembers, I think that it was Ark, and then I think it was Vaste ended up getting third, but they did that on the honor system.
Yeah, so I didn't attend the event, but because I was giving someone a new player a tour, but. Basically, Ark came first. Luma, who for the people who have listened to the podcast since the beginning, Luma came on a couple of weeks ago. We did an interview and a podcast episode with him, and he told us this story about how the rest of the Iron Gate team has basically proclaimed him as the parkour master. So we're like, oh, okay, well, in that case, we'll put you to the test. And so we invited him to join this parkour event. So I was kind of expecting Luma to get first place.
He almost did.
He almost did. And then against all odds, Ark came first. And that's weird because I watched the stream. He disconnected like seconds before you were going to start the race. And I think he had set himself up with a Fenris armor and stuff like that, like everyone, I guess, to get that jump bonus or the bonus. And then in the disconnect, he lost all his gear. And so he had to run to do the event with a completely different gear. And he ended up, I think, completing the course like semi-naked and still winning first. So yeah, well done, Og. That was pretty cool. You beat Luma, which is, I think, the main thing, right?
Yeah. That was really fun to watch. They both got about 80% through the course the first or second time, and then fell, and then came back. Luma even, I think, died on his first fall because he didn't have enough health.
Oh no!
So he did.
He did actually.
Yeah. But yeah, fun to watch. It should be on the live stream videos on my YouTube channel if you're interested in seeing that. And then, so now we're going to talk about one of the things we enjoy talking about on previous episodes. It's about things we'd like to see changed in game. If there was a magic button and we could just press it and it didn't require tons of hours of labor from very talented Iron Gate staff to make happen. This is just our whimsical things that if we had the button, we would love to see changed at some point. And let's start with our new member, Mad Michael. What is something you'd like to see changed if you could?
Well, I've been doing a lot of building lately, so I'm thinking about building mechanics. I just love them. I love the way you can clip things together, how you can snap them in so many ways, and how building requires actual thought. I mean, I laughed so hard when I found out the hard way you actually need a chimney. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because that fire is not going to breathe if if you don't have a chimney yet.
You need a big chimney. Takes a lot of space.
So as I was building something for someone recently, I thought about, I'd like to make this a little friendlier. Sometimes when you try to snap things, they're snapping to the wrong thing. I wish there was a key I could press to alternate between close snap points, to try and cycle through them. The other things are just normal building gripes, like constantly having to repair my hammer or falling and forgetting to eat. So I was thinking, all these different armor sets they have, why don't they have one for building?
Oh, a building armor set. There you go.
Yeah, that would be amazing. I think a long time ago, I had this discussion. Maybe it was some of you, I can't remember. I was saying one of the materials we can collect is the feathers. Of course, mostly we use them for feathers, for arrows. But wouldn't it be nice to have like a feather cape that basically reduces fall damage? So that you could wear that feather cape when building and you don't need to worry about eating or anything because it would massively reduce the fall damage or negate it completely or something like that. Plus, it would look hecka cool.
Yeah, that's a great idea. I've not considered an armor set for builders, and I haven't heard anybody else talk about that. So that's a great idea there, Mad.
Well, thank you. I was hoping that, a set bonus would be, lowers durability loss on your hammer too. But,
Yeah.
Yeah, I have a related feature request similar to that. That's for sure.
So, Thorin, why don't we go with you then, since you have something related?
So hammers are cool. I like hammers. We all like hammers. They enable us to do one of our favorite things in the game, which is building. At least that's kind of the main reason that I love Valheim and why I got sucked into it. But they look really basic and you can't level them up. I mean, I think you can get them to level 4, but the difference between level 1 and level 4 is pretty insignificant and you're always still repairing your hammer. And so many of the weapons in the game look really ornate and interesting, and the hammers just look so basic. It's like you're playing whack-a-mole. And I would love some sort of artisan hammers or something like that, and maybe even like a progression system with hammers. So you start with a wooden hammer, and then you have an iron hammer or a bronze hammer or whatever, and they get more and more ornate, and you have less stamina drain with higher level hammers and less durability drain and that kind of thing. And it's such an integral piece to the game. I feel like it would be really neat for the Iron Gate devs to add a little bit more visual appeal to the items that you use to build. So that would be a big one for me. I actually use a mod that we use a lot on the server called Wearable Trophies. It's kind of a random name, but it essentially allows you to do transmog. And I transmog my build hammer to look like a Frostner, just so it's a little bit more interesting when I'm building stuff. But yeah, that would definitely be a request for me, is to add various types of hammers to the game.
Yeah, that sounds really cool. What a great idea. Legendary glowy hammers.
Yeah.
Then you can hold it and it'd be kind of like a light source, like a weapon can be too.
Ooh, that'd be neat.
Yeah.
That'd be great.
Tulkas, if you could change something in the game, what would it be?
Well, I love the new armor sets they've been adding to the game with the nice set bonuses. That's something we pointed out earlier, that were kind of lacking customization or customization options. Yeah, I was really glad they added the wolf armor and the root armor to encourage different play styles. I just wish they would do the same maybe in the future for like a heavy set of armor. For example, we saw in the last server folding where I was. We went into the dungeon, and I basically tanked all the creeps in there on the stairs, and I just pushed them down with the tower shield. I wish I would basically add a set of armor that would maybe improve other playstyles with the heavy armor as well.
Would you
to be more like a tank?
Yeah, exactly.
Would you be okay if you had a little bit more armor than, say, even the padded armor, but you were maybe twice as slow so that you really could get up there and be the tank?
One idea I had was, for example, well, we still have the flame metal there, so maybe a heavy set of armor make it a little bit heavier, a bit more harm. I'm totally fine with that. But then I want something to, like, for example, since it's flame metal, I would love if enemies attack me with wearing the burning armor, they would catch fire. Just to give me a little bit of offensive options, because when I went on full stamina, full health food to be able to tank all those hits with my tower shield, I did not have enough stamina to basically attack back. So all I could do was hold the right mouse button, and I had to rely on the others to support me.
Right.
So I would.
That's a good point.
Yeah,
because I know the Iron Gate devs have spoken about wanting to make the game playable both in solo and multiplayer. So you're right. If you can't attack at all and you can only tank, that's fine if you're playing with a group of people and fighting with other people who can assume different positions. But if you're playing solo, then that wouldn't be a viable option. So that's something to think about.
I really wish they would add a better set of heavy armor. Because, at the very beginning of the event, I tried to tank a 2-star fueling berserker.
Oh,
and he basically sneezed, and I flew up through the air. It was fun to watch for everyone, but the first death through the event.
That's great. Yeah, that's another great suggestion for... We have builder's armor, we have featherfall cape, legendary glowy hammers or tiered hammered sets, and tank armor. All things I have not heard about that are really great suggestions. Awesome. So Gwen, what about you if you could change something?
I obviously, as you all know, I'm really big on the decoration, not so much the fighting, but I do like all the chests that we have. I quite like that as you progress throughout the game, you've got different options of chest, from the very basic wooden chest all the way up to the black metal chest, and with the iron reinforced chest and black metal, which also gives you a larger capacity, which is great as you upgrade your storage and have more things that you need to store. I quite like the personal chest as well. It's a really good idea and good. You can make good use of it on a multiplayer server. But what I would like to see or suggest maybe is more different types of storage options, more interesting things that are not necessarily just chests, maybe things like cupboards, barrels, and other elements where you could store things in a more visually interesting way than just having a whole wall lined up with the same chest. So, for example, at some point during the winter when we had the Yule claps, which are these little Christmas boxes, you could store up to 3 items with the larger ones. So I was kind of using that as a bit of storage as well, just to have something a little bit different, a bit more decorative. But I'm thinking, since they do have barrels in the game that are not something that you can build, but you can see them at Haldor's. I think you can spawn them with admin commands too. That would be a cool storage option for certain materials. Say, for example, maybe they can be tailored to something that they could contain. So, for example, flour is usually a bit of a pain to store because they only stack up to 20. So usually if you do a lot of plains farming, you end up with chests and chests of flour. So maybe we could have some sort of special barrel that is especially good for storing flour, and they would have a larger capacity just for that one item, for example.
Or just food storage barrels in general. I've seen a lot of people clip item stands into the barrels to make them look like they're full of berries too.
Yeah, I've done that on one of my builds, inspired by a YouTube video. Yeah, that would make things look a bit different, a bit more interesting, because that's the thing is like we all have those massive storage rooms and they're basically just wall to wall chests, all of the same chests. Usually people go for the reinforced chest because it's the easier one to stack. The black metal one is kind of a weird shape, so you can't really line it up nicely. So I haven't seen many people make storage rooms with the black metal one, but yeah, it would be just nice to have something a little bit different. Or why not cupboards? Maybe cupboards to put your armor stuff in. I don't know.
Yeah,
definitely.
I saw recently a mod that I think it takes the barrel that's at the hull door spot and
Yeah.
it makes it a buildable item. And then anything you put into it, it shows that thing at the top.
Oh,
so,
cool.
so I don't know exactly how it works. If it's like the first thing you put in, that's what shows. Because if you put multiple things in, how it shows that. But yeah, it's something like that where you could use them as storage, and whatever you put in, it shows at the top. I thought, oh wow, that's a really cool mod to consider for a modded server. Yeah. Well, that's great suggestion. Yeah, more storage options are nice because the chests everywhere. They're utilitarian, but not very decorative if you're putting a whole bunch of them up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly.
Definitely. How about yourself, Jiroc?
What about you?
Yeah, I mean, I've probably mentioned this a little bit before, and I know I've had a little bit of lashback in some videos, so I wanted to clarify it a little bit. So the mob AI in the game is kind of fun, especially with certain things like the Greylings and the Grey Dwarfs and a few of the others where they'll run around. They don't just come and stand toe to toe and pound on you. Now, some of the mobs in the game, they do that. They just like stand there, but some of them they'll hit, they'll move around. Some will even sort of flee depending on if there's fire or whatnot. I like that. I like that there's a little bit of nuance there. However, the AI having a problem with the terrain just drives me crazy, especially as an admin running server events, and Thorn can probably relate to this. But they don't go up hills very well. They can't get over a little tiny like step in the terrain. And the reason why I'm bringing this back up is because I've run a lot of events in the new Frost Caves, and there's particularly at the entrance, there's that little step to go down. Maybe that's intentional. So you have a safe spot to go, but yeah, the mobs can't get up there. So I wish the mobs could go over anything that a player could. Almost every mob should have the ability to just kind of jump up, up a meter or a half a meter or something. They come to it, and then it just, if they can't get over it, but the player's right beyond it, instead of trying to go around it, it just does a jump mechanic to get over that. That would be really cool. Just a simple, I've hit a barrier. I can't go straight anymore. Do I turn? Nope. Let me just try to jump. Maybe we'll see things jumping like crazy and it'll look really weird and goofy. But and then sort of climbing, like not everything would have to be like spider-like and climb up and down everything. But like we can go up anything that kind of has a tiny bit of a slope to it, like a steep cliff. You can make those really steep, not perfectly 90 degrees, but really close. Something like they look like they're almost like 85 or so degrees. So really steep. And you can kind of run up it as you jump and run up it. I wish the mobs kind of had that too. And it would be the same thing. They hit this barrier, they start jumping, and then they go up it. Just because if a player can go up it, especially some of these creatures, they should be able to go up it. Now maybe a Lox, maybe not so much, but the Fenring is already very jumpy. The wolves, we don't have any cats in the games, but like lots of animals I'd expect to be able to get up terrain easier, and they can't. And I hope that at some point in the development of the game, and it might be a Unity engine issue, they're able to solve that issue a little bit. What about you guys? What do you think about that?
I was just going to say, I don't think it's a Unity issue. It's more so a scope of work issue. We've talked about it before with the Fenring and how it's really the only ground monster in the game that can jump. So it's definitely possible, and I think they could just add like different jump configuration for other monsters that are more similar to how our characters jump. Where it gets complicated is in the animation. Like every single monster would need a new jump animation, and it's probably different depending on the different monsters because they all have different body shapes and that kind of thing. And when you start to talk about climbing, it gets even more complicated. We had a chat with Grimcore in the past where he talked about something called IK systems or inverse kinematics, where you're trying to like morph the model of the monster to the slope of the terrain that they're trying to climb over, so your feet aren't like clipping through the ground and that type of thing. So it actually takes quite a bit of work to implement both or either jumping or climbing. So I would assume that's why they haven't done it with more monsters, but that's just my guess.
Yeah, I just remembered how you did a event on the resource server where you had this island with the cliffs all around it and the little platforms, basically like a Mario jump and run game prepared for us. And we just cheesed it and jumped and ran straight up the pillars instead of making taking the way you prepared for us to jump. You remember?
Yeah, because I had morphed the boulders in the game to be like these thin but really tall rocks jutting out of the water, and I mistakenly added a little bit of an angle to them, and I put little like parkour jumps on them, and they just ignored the parkour jumps and just ran straight up the side of the rocks.
Yeah, maybe the solution would be like either give the monsters the option to jump or walk the same way as the players can. That would also make the mud walls inefficient, because that's something players are using as well to cheese enemies. Or give the instead of working on jumping, maybe it's easier to give the mobs the ability to run up cliffs like players can.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's an interesting point, because that goes beyond just jumping, or I mean, I guess Jiroc said climbing, but I think what really enables climbing in this game is sprinting at a wall. And so imagine if more monsters actually had the ability to sprint. That would be scary if they could sprint after you and sprint to run up walls. Yeah,
that's great, right? I mean, just picture a troll just doing the football charge towards you, just knocking you out to the finishing line.
Oh my God. That's a great idea for a mod, 28 days later mod, where all the mobs can run really fast.
Oh, yeah. I wonder if there's a mod out there. And if there's not, I'm going to suggest one, because that sounds amazing.
Next hard mode server?
Yeah, everything runs, sprints after you.
oh, look, the golem is walking towards me. Oh no, I have to prepare. Oh shit! He's already here.
Run!
Well, I wanted to ask.
Run, Forrest! Run!
I wanted to ask Mad, because he's been a player on the server for 3 months. Mad, do you find yourself if during certain challenges digging holes and putting mobs in it to better control the situation?
I did it once when I was taming wolves on resource, but I prefer to fight the mobs head on. I get really annoyed in the plains where it's slightly sloped, and I shoot a lox from a distance, and I expect it to come straight at me. Instead, it takes a roundabout way because it can't figure its way up a 20-degree slope or something.
Yeah, that's definitely that's one of my big pet peeves. I probably mentioned it before, but I wanted to talk about it again. So because we have the new dungeon, and it's again an issue in there. But as admin, I'm thinking about placing stairs at that lip and then giving them infinite health so that they can't be broken, and then this way the players, they can't stand on that platform. They can zone in and out, but they have to go in and actually fight the mobs.
Now that I think about it, every dungeon has this slope at the entrance where it can just be safe.
Yeah.
Like the Black Forest, the Sunken Crypts, all the dungeons I picture have this little slope at the entrance.
Except for the Troll Cave.
Yeah, except the Troll Cave. But like in the Sunken Crypts, in the
Burial Chambers.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, you can. There's the chance that there are enemies spawning with a bow and arrow, and then they are just gonna shoot you down when you're standing up there. So maybe improve the cultists' range attack a little bit, so they can reach you with their flamethrowers while you're just trying to cheese them.
Well, so actually, before we close up here, that's a good point. So for the hard mode server at each of the POIs, I chose very specific mobs at each POI. And no matter what, I have a couple of ones that mainly stay on the ground. I always picked one or more ranged and or flying mobs for each POI. This way, if people were on terrain or on a building or something that a mob could not get to them and they could just stand up there and shoot down or cheese them in some way, there'd be a wraith or a drake or, a Draugr archer shooting at them so that they couldn't just cheese it. And that worked pretty well. And, that's what you do with the system. This is the system we have. So you have to work with it and try to find ways to make it work. And I think we're doing that and having fun and appreciate whatever changes and upgrades they can do to the system. But yeah, it works and we're having fun. But I think that's going to close it out for us today. Thanks for joining me, everyone.
Thanks for having us. See you next time.
Thank you.
That's it for now. Have fun out there.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to Podheim, Jiroc's Valheim podcast. We have new episodes coming out every Friday, and if you enjoyed listening, please support us by subscribing to the podcast on your favorite platform and leave us a rating and a review to help more Vikings find us. We also have a Patreon with perks for supporters like behind-the-scenes discussions, exclusive content, and segments that are edited out of the main podcast. And if you'd like to join our friendly Discord community, we have more than 1,000 people there. Just go to discord.gg/Jiroc the Viking. If you'd like to play on my Valheim servers, just go to my website at jiroctheviking.com and submit an application. I'd like to give a huge shout out to my supporters, some of them on Patreon, the YouTube membership, and the ones who help boost our Discord server. Your support means the world to me and inspires me to make more videos, as well as run a community Discord and multiple Valheim gaming servers. If you enjoy my videos and would like to support my work, join our friendly Discord community and Valheim servers. Links can be found in the description below. Skål!